Personality can feel like something fixed, as if you simply are disciplined, anxious, messy, patient, confident, or easily distracted. But daily habits quietly train the version of you that shows up most often. A personality is not only what you believe about yourself. It is also what your repeated actions make normal. A habit is a behavior repeated enough that it begins to run with less conscious effort. The usual loop has a cue, a routine, and a reward. The cue starts the behavior, the routine is what you do, and the reward teaches the brain that the loop is worth saving for next time. Imagine two people waking up stressed. One checks messages immediately and starts the day reacting. The other drinks water, writes 3 priorities, and waits before opening the phone. After months, they may describe themselves differently. One says, "I am always overwhelmed." The other says, "I am organized." The identity grew from repeated mornings. Habits shape attention. If you constantly check short videos, your mind gets trained to expect fast novelty. Long reading may start feeling painfully slow. If you practice focused work every morning, the mind learns to stay with one thing longer. Attention is not just a trait, it is trained by what you repeatedly feed it. Habits also shape emotional style. A person who vents every frustration instantly may become more reactive because anger gets practiced. A person who pauses, names the feeling, and responds later practices emotional space. Over years, those tiny choices can look like personality differences, hot-headed versus composed. The same thing happens with confidence. Confidence is often built from evidence. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, even a small one, the mind stores proof. Each time you abandon your own plan, the mind stores that too. Self-trust is not created by slogans, it is accumulated through kept commitments. Bad habits can create a personality that feels inevitable. Someone who avoids hard tasks daily may eventually call themselves lazy. Someone who cancels social plans repeatedly may decide they are not a people person. But the label may be describing a pattern, not a permanent identity. Change the pattern and the label may loosen. Environment makes habits easier or harder. A kitchen full of snacks supports one version of you. A visible fruit bowl supports another. A phone beside the bed supports one morning identity. A book on the pillow supports another. Personality often looks internal, but many habits are built by external friction. Social circles are habit factories. Friends normalize how people spend, eat, talk, complain, celebrate, and handle conflict. If every gathering revolves around gossip, gossip becomes easy. If your group exercises, builds projects, and speaks honestly, those behaviors become less heroic and more ordinary. A concrete example is money. Someone who reviews spending every Friday may become calm and practical with finances. Someone who avoids bank accounts until panic arrives may feel like a naturally irresponsible person. But the difference may be one repeated ritual, looking at reality early instead of waiting for consequences. Habits shape the stories you tell about yourself. After months of walking daily, you may say, "I am someone who takes care of my body." After months of practicing a language, you may say, "I am a learner." The action comes first often. The identity catches up after enough evidence. This is why tiny habits matter. A 5-minute routine can look too small to count, but small actions repeated without drama are how identity becomes believable. The brain resists huge personality reinventions. It accepts repeated proof. 1 page a day creates a reader more reliably than one dramatic weekend of motivation. The danger is choosing habits that reward the present self while harming the future self. Staying up late feels good tonight, but tomorrow a Euro-s tired version of you pays. Avoiding a difficult talk feels peaceful today, but the relationship becomes tense. Habits are votes for which version of you receives comfort and which version receives consequences. Changing personality through habits works best when you design for the smallest repeatable behavior. If you want to be calmer, start with one pause before replying. If you want to be healthier, start with a walk after lunch. If you want to be more reliable, start by writing down promises immediately. Tracking helps because it makes invisible repetition visible. You do not need a complicated system. A calendar mark, simple notebook, or habit app can show whether your identity story matches your behavior. The goal is not perfection. The goal is honest feedback before months disappear unnoticed. Setbacks do not erase personality growth. Missing one workout does not make you undisciplined. Snapping once does not make you a cruel person. What matters is the next repetition. People often fail because they turn a slip into a new identity. A healthier habit builder treats a slip as data, then returns quickly. Over time, habits reduce internal debate. The person who always negotiates with themselves spends energy before every good action. The person who has made the action habitual moves with less drama. That ease is what people later call personality. It is not magic. It is practiced automaticity. Habits shape your personality because they create repeated evidence about who you are, what you tolerate, how you respond, and what you value. You do not need to become a completely different person overnight. You need to choose small behaviors that make the next version of you easier to believe. Habits shape personality because repeated actions become evidence. If you keep showing up on time, you start seeing yourself as reliable. If you avoid every hard task, you may start seeing yourself as someone who cannot handle pressure. The identity is not formed by one dramatic decision. It is reinforced by small repeated votes. This is why environment matters. A person who wants to read more but keeps the phone beside the bed is fighting friction every night. A person who leaves a book on the pillow makes the desired habit easier to notice. Personality change often looks less like a huge inner transformation and more like designing surroundings that make better actions easier. Bad habits also shape self-image through repetition. Snapping at people, overspending, doom scrolling, or quitting early can become a story. Oh, this is just who I am. But habits are learned patterns, not permanent verdicts. Changing them requires reducing cues, adding friction to the old behavior, and making the replacement small enough to repeat. Your personality is not only what you feel inside, it is also what you repeatedly practice. Confidence, patience, discipline, generosity, and calm are strengthened through behavior. You do not need to reinvent yourself overnight. Start with one habit that casts the right vote every day. Over time, repeated behavior becomes a believable identity. The strongest starting point is one habit that is too small to argue with. Put the shoes by the door, write one sentence, prepare one healthy snack, or close one app before bed. Small habits matter because they repeat. Repetition creates proof. Proof changes self-belief. And self-belief makes the next good action easier to choose. This is why missing once should not become a new identity. Skipping one workout, wasting one evening, or breaking one routine does not erase the person you are building. The important move is returning quickly. Habits shape personality through the pattern, not through one perfect streak. A strong identity is built by coming back after interruptions.